So I had a friend who was getting stalked by a deer. And I'm not like, I say stalked as in, so what had happened is they had been out walking their dog, and their dog had attacked a fawn, like a little baby deer, and like tried to fight it. And so then, that incident happened. Ever since then, the mama deer would attack her and her dog anytime they saw them.
Oh God.
And I mean like
Wow.
attack as in like charge, like going to beat her up.
Sorry, Chris, I wasn't paying attention when you actually imitated what it sounded like. Could you do it again?
Well, I mean, I wasn't there. So, but this was like, sounds...
I wasn't looking. Could you do it again?
It sounds very funny, but like the way they described it was like, it was terrifying. As in, this person would send me pictures of this deer. It's like, it's waiting behind the building for me. I see it. Just send me a picture of like up on their balcony, and they'd be like, it's watching me. Like, and it'd just be a deer like mean mugging her and be like giving her.
So what did she do?
Well, she tried to avoid the deer. She'd walk the dog different places, but it would find her. So then,
It sounds like a horror story.
Yeah. And then she ended up calling like animal control, and they were like,
oh my God.
They were like, well, it's a deer and it's habitat. This is where it lives. We can't really do anything. Really our specialty is like animals that shouldn't be here,
So that's an animal that should be there.
Yeah, because it's like kind of out towards like 360 and stuff,
Yeah, I guess they tend to roam around neighborhoods a little more there, right?
Yeah. And then
Texas.
And the reason I got into this whole thing, I became part of the deer problem, was because my dad is like, he deals with deers. He's like a deer specialist.
He has the deer podcast, right?
Yeah, he's got the deer podcast. He's literally the guy who wrote the book on deers. Like, I've got a deer book.
There is one book about deers, and he wrote it.
Well, I mean, he's written multiple books about deers. So he's like.
That is the most Chris dad thing I've ever heard.
It really is.
Like
it's fantastic.
A deer book. So it's like, I'm not kidding. Like,
it's so great.
So
Wait, no, it looks like he wrote that with someone else.
Well, yeah, okay.
It's a co-writer.
Well, he's also written another book, so that's like a full one.
Okay, he's got two books half written.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was like asking my dad, like, well, and he was like, well, it's in a neighborhood. So he's like, he was going to suggest like, some sort of pepper spray or something. But it's like, but it could run into a street and endanger itself. And then he suggested an air horn or something to scare it. But then she was like, already tried that. And then it kept escalating because she'd have to. She was out walking and she had to like run into the street to get away from it and like wave down a car like she was being attacked and like, I need help, and then like jumped into someone random's car because the deer was waiting on the other side of the street and had to drive her to.
Oh my God, this is like a horror movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then so it kept happening. She had to wave down two cars 2 different times. So she called 311, like the police, and was like, what do I do? This deer's trapped me. And then
For those
sounds
of you
like
who don't know,
more of a 911 situation than a 311.
Well,
yeah, 311 is a non-emergency line.
that's
For
an
those of you who
emergency.
don't know,
Well, I
he
think she
didn't
didn't
just
want-
say 911 wrong.
well, no. Well, she said, I think because I don't think she wanted to be like, oh, there's like people who are getting like, like someone might. I don't know. She called 311. Maybe the deer wasn't chasing her at this time. I don't know if she was like, the deer's all like running, actively calling 911, or she could have been from a hiding spot. I don't know. An officer showed up and they're like, well, I'll just, avoid the deer. She's, I'm trying. And he's like, well, stop provoking it. She's like, I'm not doing anything to provoke it. It's chasing me. And the officer's like, well, I don't know what to tell you. Like, because again, deers aren't really their specialty.
Eric Badura pointed this out in our chat, but you keep saying deers. Deer is the plural of deer, right?
Well, what's deers? Deers?
I mean, you should know. Your dad wrote the book.
But I
He wrote the
didn't.
book on deers.
Oh my god.
What do you mean,
I've heard
deer?
deers.
Deers as well.
This is
What's
just
What's the
fantastic.
singular form of deer?
Deer on.
Deer.
No, it's just deer.
It's like moose.
No, it isn't. What is it? It's a doe. It's a doe.
No, that's a female deer.
Well,
Is
that
it a
was
female deer?
yeah. It
So
was a
it's a
female
doe.
deer because it had a fawn. Anyway, so this doe is chasing her, and she calls like the parks, the parks department. No one will take care of the doe problem. So then one time she got trapped and called me, and I was like, well, okay, I'll whatever. I show up and I'm like, escort to the to her apartment, and I'm like, go get me a broom, and so I go and she comes out with a broom. I'm like, okay. I take the broom part off, so it's just a stick. And I'm like, let's go confront the deer, because you can't keep.
That'll work.
Well, it can't keep terrorizing her. Like she has to confront it.
This must stop.
Yeah. Well, that's
Can't go on.
It had been going on for weeks, and she'd called everyone and I was like, I don't want to get called every time that she gets trapped. Like, I can't deal with this doe. So I was like, let's go find it. And then, but she was afraid. I was like, no, we have to go. Where's the deer? Where does it frequent? She's like, back there. I'm like,
where's the deer doe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's the doe frequent?
That's good.
Where's
There's
doe?
multiple deers. There's multiple deers in the area, but there's one doe that's stalking her. And so I'm like, we have to go there. And she starts sobbing because she's afraid.
Aw.
And I'm like, come on, we have to confront it. And I'm like pulling on the leash with the dog, like, come on. And she's like, she's like hiding around the corner. I'm like, no, it won't know to stay away. I'm not going to do anything to the doe, but I just want to be like, hey, leave us alone. Like,
You keep using doe for like singular deer though. Like, I know it was a doe, but you're just.
I think because he doesn't want to have to confuse himself with deers or deer.
yeah, I'm just the doe.
So you had
This,
a dog,
Chris,
or you had a
it just-
bitch.
No.
It just doesn't sound like any fawn at all.
No. Well, yeah, because the dog got the fawn.
Did anybody? Are you done with the story, or is it still going?
Well, what ended up happening was we
Oh,
confronted.
okay. Sorry.
Hey, all right. Well, let's tell me more about parrots, Jessica.
No, keep going.
The only reason just asked because I only asked because I was like, man, I should have been timing this from the beginning.
Well, that's this amazing thing. Last time Chris told a story, there was one that lasted about 4 minutes. So I asked someone in the community to cut out all of the irrelevant redos and pauses to see how long the story actually was, and it was like under a minute. And someone actually edited it for me. It was brilliant.
Well, I look forward to hearing the director's cut.
Did you ever see that? It was the one where you woke up, you were in like someone else's bed for a bit or something.
Oh, you know what's a funny thing about that? I found out recently.
Oh God, there's more.
Is I woke up and the person who was in the bed with wasn't there. I
So
forgot that.
You were in someone else's bed without the person who
Yes.
linked you to that person.
Yes, that's what I forgot, because I forgot that detail.
That kind of drastically improves the story.
It does, and I was like, oh my God, how did I forget that?
I need to know how this confrontation went, though. I need to know
Okay.
if the problem with this doe.
Well,
It's done.
so we found a deer in the distance, and so I was like confronting it. I was like, "Hey, deer!" like trying to scare it so that it wouldn't charge, but also like waving the broomstick. And then it ran away, and then it came back, and I thought it was going to charge at me, but then I was like, no, it's keeping its distance. So I yelled at it again, and then because my friend was in the distance as I came back, it's like, see, it's more afraid. She's like, well, that wasn't the right doe, so it wasn't the right deer, but I think I still made so it's still out there.
You think word has spread from that one to the one still?
Well, the thing is, none of the other deer deers would chase.
You corrected yourself to the wrong.
None of the other deers would chase. It was just that one. So it's an unsolved case.
Well, why don't you just implore your dad to come and just blast it if it's that much of an issue?
Well, I don't think anyone wants the deer to die.
No, of course
It's
not. It just should be in a place that it isn't threatening people's safety.
Well, and from what they had researched is that female deers when they have babies are particularly aggressive and have a lot of like testosterone, you know, or not testosterone, whatever, anger deer. They have anger issues, and so
testosterone.
Yeah. And so it's probably like one of those things where it'll stop chasing once the fawn gets older.